go, guys. Ready to come back and check it out?
Let's do it.
All right. Ska and punk was something we were always into in our younger ages, and still into. We all love ska music and punk music, and if you ever have listened to ska music, they oftentimes sing a lot about drinking beer. For people that listen to ska, they know that there's an association with ska music and drinking beer, and for people that don't know anything about ska music, they think that it's a cool word.
There's now, I think, over 110 craft breweries in the state now. Colorado brews more beer than any other state. It's industry-wide, but Colorado's really special. There's a serious brotherhood in the craft brewing industry. And, you know, like I mentioned a minute ago, Carver's was our first account, you know, another brewery in town. And so I think, you know, when we first started, we had friends in the industry. Other brewers were willing to share information and work with us, and we were fortunate. We got in the first craft brew boom, and then there was a bit of a shakeout. People who just got into it for money, thought it was going to be money, didn't know crap about beer, and you know, they disappeared.
I started homebrewing when I was 18 because we couldn't buy the kind of beer that we wanted to be drinking legally at the store. So Dave's dad, my business partner Dave, his father introduced us to homebrewing, and that's basically how it started. We eventually had a pretty big homebrewing system in a house that I lived in town right after I moved here, and then we kind of grew out of the home garage into a garage out in the industrial park, and that's where we've been ever since.
The old place was an interesting facility. We never really knew how big we were going to get or what was going to happen. So when we first opened up there, we were at 800 square feet, and slowly coincidentally people kept moving out of the building, and we were able to take over the next space and the next space and the next space, and eventually we piecemealed this makeshift brewery together in this old steel building that was not anything close to being designed for a brewery. So we made things work there. Moving down here, being able to take, being able to buy a piece of property and design the brewery from the ground up was instrumental into us increasing our production the way that we have been able to this past year. It was something that was much needed. We couldn't grow any more in the existing building. So the best option for us was to build from the ground up. And we were at a point where we felt we needed to make a big move. We couldn't just slap something together and have it work. We needed to do a big move. So we opted to go for the full on big loan and go for it.
One of the first things you notice about our warehouse is right now there are no lights on here. All the light being provided here, and even on an overcast day where it's snowing, is coming through the solar tubes on the ceiling. Most days we don't have to have any lights on here in our warehouse.
Most recently, we're one of the few breweries that is canning, and since we were one of the first, we kind of figured out all of the pitfalls that there are with canning. You'd be surprised how many there are. And we're able to troubleshoot that a lot. So I think like we're already ahead of the game as compared to a lot of the brewers that are just now starting to can, including New Belgium. Yeah.
This is the canning line that we bought from Oscar Blues. They canned a whole lot of beer on this little guy right here. Now they've graduated to a much bigger system, so we bought this from them. They came down and helped us get it running. And as soon as we had this thing up and running is when we put out the modus operandi, which that's just been going crazy for us. We've been even having trouble keeping up with it. It's been going so good.
At the old place, we had a 15-barrel specific system, and I located a new brew house, which is a 30-barrel system. So a barrel of beer is 2 full-size kegs, so brewing 60 kegs at a time, basically.
Our goal is to get to 25,000, 30,000 barrels, and we're at about about 13 to 14,000 now for this year. So there's a good amount of growth there. That's practically doubling our size. So that's kind of where I foresee us headed. You know, we'll hit some other markets. Ideally, what we really want to try to do is increase awareness in our current markets.
What's coming up? It's the World Beer Cup.
Yeah, we got a bronze for the stout, and I'm hoping that our Modus takes something. The Modus, we've been told, that people say it's the best IPA out there.
We're into skeletons and skulls, but we're friendly folks. So, and I think everybody in Durango knows it. And I think we're approachable, and we're always willing to help out if there's a cause. And I think the beer speaks for itself. And I think it's fun. We represent it's not just craft beer, but kind of a lifestyle. Like, we clearly just do what we want. And I think people like that. People like to have fun. And I think we're definitely fun people.